All right, welcome to the inaugural episode of Guaranteed Audio. This is Kevin James.
I'm Neil Cicierega, friend of Kevin James.
And I'm Ryan Murphy, also friend of Neil and Kevin.
For those of you unacquainted with us, we just started up a new, I guess you call it, creative initiative called Guaranteed Video. And as a promise to our Patreon backers, we're going to be doing a monthly podcast. And I guess we haven't even agreed till right now that we're going to call it Guaranteed Audio. Do we have a vote? It's Guaranteed Audio.
I'm for it.
Yeah,
that's
good.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Sounds great.
Yeah, we thought we'd get in on the podcast train real early before it picks up. So we're going to do a podcast.
I think I first heard the word podcast like 10 years ago.
I think older for me.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was in college when I first heard about podcasts. A friend of mine got me into the One Up stuff, and that was back when I had a PSP. So that might have been like 2005 or 6.
Yeah, I think it's from the Latin root word iPod.
But
No,
yeah,
I remember when I first heard the word podcast, to go, oh, you listen to it on your iPod. Oh, that's cute. Great, like a radio show. That's honestly how I put like, oh, it's for iPods. Got it.
iPods are in the air thanks to Baby Driver. Now that Baby Driver's out, everyone's talking about them iPods again.
Yeah, but I just bought an iPod. I didn't.
So we've wanted to do something like this for a long time. For those of you who don't know us, we've been making movies together on YouTube for, good God, like 11 years, 12 years? Right?
I think 2006, maybe.
Yeah. And
2005, stretching.
We've individually all made movies longer than that, but we kind of joined forces around.
Yeah,
2006. All three.
We're a pre-YouTube bunch, and we'd always talked about doing something like this, and we could never really agree upon like how rhythmically we could do it, like how regularly we could produce it. Mm-hmm. And we figured once a month, and once our Patreon did as well as it did, we set a very modest goal that would be kind of our gate into, are people going to actually listen to the podcast we make? And it looks like people will.
Yeah, what was the stretch goal for that? Was it?
I think do you want to put the dollar amount out there?
Yeah, sure.
It was $300 because that would cover the basic costs for making like a video of the caliber we tend to put out, and buying some sound gear. So the microphones we're using right now were paid for by Patreon backers. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, really.
Yeah.
I'd go more into the gear, but some people probably don't care about that kind of thing. Maybe we'll make a post about that at some point. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves any further? I don't know how much time we want to take up. Just, if people don't know who we are, why would they be listening, right? I mean, not that we're celebrities, but like...
Well, at this juncture, maybe this podcast will become incredibly popular and people will know us purely for our voices.
Oh, yes.
We should be so lucky. But yeah, Neil, take it away.
No, I'm going to assume most people have watched our videos, and most of the people listening to this episode are backers who just wanted to support us anyway. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. We make goofy movies. If you haven't watched any of them...
We didn't make either of the goofy movies, though.
No, not even extremely goofy movie.
Yeah. First movie's fantastic.
No, but we did... Yeah, it is, actually.
I forgot there's a second. I honestly forgot.
He goes to
It's
college.
not bad.
Oh, that's right.
It's not good, but
Christmas
it's not
Eve goes to college. Sorry. Let's continue intros. Neil is a musician.
I'm a musician. I do mashups. I do other videos without you guys. I do...
True.
I do all sorts of stuff. I have my own Patreon. I have my website, neilcic.com. It's got links to everything.
I'm Ryan Murphy. I also make videos, obviously, with Neil and Kevin. I also have my own little niche of creepypastas. Online horror stories specifically for one-on-one, just you, just your headphones, nothing but the light of the monitor at night, your phone, your iPad, your screen, whatever you got. With your headphones on, spooky stories. The screen is the 21st century campfire. It's for you and maybe a few friends. It's supposed to be scary. It's for when you can't, like the No Sleep podcast, which is wonderful, by the way, and we discussed that earlier. I do creepypastas, horror stories for the internet. I do claymation and stop motion animation, and I take photos. I take a lot of photos.
Nice.
And you're Vicious516 on
Correct.
YouTube, by the way. If
Correct.
anyone wants to check out those horribly creepy pastas that you've made.
Thank you.
We were at MagFest back in January, and we had a Q&A after our... we presented Computer Fighters, a movie we made, to an audience there, and the first question out of the audience was, Ryan, when are you going to make more creepypastas?
That's right.
I've known Ryan since I was, I want to say, 5 years old, and whenever Ryan puts out a new one of those, I find myself at 2 a.m. listening with my headphones on, getting thoroughly creeped out, despite being absolutely familiar with Ryan's voice and his speech patterns. But that's how effective they are. Not to oversell them, but
Thank you.
Yeah, does it ever hit you halfway through a creepypasta like, this is the same guy who was complaining about like Transformers the other day?
this is the same guy that took my copy of Animorphs 1 and got R.L. Stein to sign it.
That's true.
Who did
That's
not
a true
write
story.
Animorph books.
No.
I'm just realizing now, have you ever been to a wedding where the bride and groom, or the bride and bride, or the groom and groom will do each other's vows? Like they'll write each other's vows and read,
Oh, yeah.
We should have done that. Like I should have introduced Ryan should have introduced Neil. But whatever, because now we don't sound modest whatsoever.
Maybe next time.
I'll be abbreviated. My name's Kevin James. I'm a filmmaker currently directing a documentary called Not for Resale about the end of physical media. It's about video game shops. You can probably find it if you Google it. I've also made a lot of videos with Ryan and Neil. I've worked in reality TV, usually in the editorial department. I do a bunch of video work. That's kind of my thing. Just videos, big and small. Used to organize film festivals in the South Shore. But more often than not, I'm making short films with these guys. And I guess the reason we started the Patreon and we kind of rebranded as Guaranteed Video, we used to be called New Kids on the Rock, was, we realized we wanted to do something a little more uniformly, a little more regularly, because, we make a lot of stuff. And sometimes, I wouldn't say we make a mistake, but sometimes we'll make projects that are long, for YouTube digestion, like, 10 to 20 minutes that take months to do because of like effects work, or we just have to get locations and a wide variety of people together. And it kind of hit us like, if we took our efforts and just kind of regimented them a bit, we could easily make regular YouTube content of our caliber, and this is sort of our swing in that arena. We're going to see how
Exactly.
Yeah, so hence the name Guaranteed Video with an asterisk. So.
Yeah, the asterisk is just so you
Insurance.
know, like, there's no guarantees.
So we're gonna. I guess I am kind of modeling our first episode off of my favorite podcast, which is the Giant Bombcast, and we're gonna go right into, I don't know, what we've been listening to, watching, playing, or reading lately. And we're going to call this section, at least for the first episode, Current Media, which is not really a subject name. We're really figuring this out as we go.
That's a great name, Kevin.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Neil, have you seen anything cool lately?
Yes, actually, I wanted to talk about this. My wife, Ming, and I, almost coincidentally, but the last 2 movies we watched together on the couch of our living room were Titanic, which I've never seen before, and then last night we watched Gangs of New York. So we basically watched the 2 longest Leonardo DiCaprio historical epics we could find.
So, Ryan, you've seen Titanic, right?
Oh yeah, I've seen both.
What's your verdict? You're a James Cameron fan, right?
I am a James Cameron fan, and it scratched that itch, actually.
It's good, right?
It's good.
People like to dump on it. It's good, though.
No, Titanic was... No, I could totally see why it was a huge deal, and I was rooting for it because it was, Cameron, it's a little bit goofy, but it's
trying so hard to satisfy everyone on Earth. Like you feel it. Like not in a Hollywood level. It's one thing to watch a movie where you can tell a studio is trying to make a movie that seems to satisfy, check every box, get every audience member happy. But with Titanic, it's the director was trying to make everybody happy. Like I feel like there's a difference.
You really felt that James Cameron wanted to make a huge movie, but not he wanted to make his huge movie. And Gangs of New York, on the other hand, Martin Scorsese, and I have a really spotty Martin Scorsese track record. I think I've seen this, Shutter Island, Hugo, and the only one of his old movies
Casino?
I've seen, I think, is King of Comedy. Kings of Comedy, which is
I need to see Raging Bull.
It's worth the hype. It's great.
That's not an anecdote. I shouldn't say I need to see something I haven't seen.
Yeah, but I haven't seen any of his more famous movies. Gangs of New York.
May I say, as someone very familiar with Scorsese, you're missing out. Your perspective is way. But go on.
But I like all of the. I like everything
great.
I've seen. Gangs of New York, I think, was just kind of. It was a very huge investment. Very similarly in. Just very similar in scope to Titanic. The sets are huge. It's worth watching for the sets and the extras alone.
I always love Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis is awesome.
Bald eagle eyeball. Come on, that's fantastic.
But yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be such a comic book, really.
Yeah, you're right. It is.
Like the first scene is, all the gangs, they have their own costumes, and
It's like the Warriors. Or
yeah,
something.
yeah. I was making
yeah.
warrior jokes at the beginning, and the first scene sets the tone weird because there's kind of techno music playing. There's like a kind of music playing.
Yeah, like Bono. Isn't it Bono at the very
Bono
end?
at the end.
All right,
There
yeah.
were a lot of
Bono's
parts
in,
where
wait. Bono's in the movie or is music?
No, Bono plays
It's
at
just
the end.
Bono.
It's
Yeah,
just
you're right,
it's
he's-
not good. It's
No. Like he's an actor. In
no,
the
no,
movie?
no. He
No,
play,
it's
it's
a
the
song.
end credits
It's a song.
music.
Because I've seen Bono in movies before. So
I'm
No,
sorry.
no, that was Robin Williams. They look very similar.
no. He was across the universe. As,
Oh yes,
yeah.
he is.
he introduces Mr. Kite, right?
Yeah, no, it was
Yes, yes, he does.
It had all the parts of a good movie, but it was trying too many things.
Oscar bait movie.
yeah.
Also, it has movie kryptonite.
Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz.
She was fine actually. I thought she was all right.
I have a thing with Cameron Diaz. Like I
she's been terrible in things before. But
I almost walked into seeing Green Hornet before I realized she was in it because they kind of hit her from the ads. I'm just dumping on her. I don't like Cameron Diaz.
no, but she was playing more of a character than she usually does, and everybody was kind of a larger than life character, except for Leonardo DiCaprio, who kind of didn't shine in his role.
I will say, John C. Reilly, great role.
Oh,
great
yes.
role as a dirty cop from the 1860s. Fantastic. He really looks the part too. You forget that he can be scary. Dr. Steve Brule can actually. He has a wide range. You forget. Daniel Day-Lewis clearly did a lot of research based on old documents and what he could find because he's like the method actor of method actors. Mm-hmm. What would a
he
New
really
Yorker
took his eye out.
What would a New Yorker have sounded like? What was the version of the New York accent from the 1860s? The same way that I wonder how much. I'm going to spitball here. I doubt Cameron Diaz and Leo did nearly as much research. What was an Irish brogue like for an immigrant straight off the boat? They're just doing a brogue. And that's fine. I mean, because let's be honest, they're not Daniel Day-Lewis. They're just not.
Good. Well, the first thing you hear in the movie is
It's Liam Neeson.
yeah,
right?
Liam Neeson,
who is real.
Yeah,
he's naturally.
he's the brogue.
I assume if there's a Venn diagram of our favorite actors out of the three of us, Liam Neeson's probably up there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I really
cumulatively, sure.
Yeah. I'm a big Darkman fan, so.
I'm a big Kinsey fan. He's great.
Oh yeah.
He's very good. It's not a flattering role.
I just wanted to
It's
say I'm a
sad
big
life.
Kinsey fan. I'm a total Kinsey head over here.
I got my scale.
All right,
What,
now Ryan,
Ryan, what have you been up to? Anything good lately?
Well, I'll be brief because I have a hunch that my intellectual properties are. We've talked, guys. Believe it. For those of you listening at home, I talked to Neil and Kevin a lot, and I bet they also have not yet watched. But we will. We all will. I'm still rooting. The show's over, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm still rooting for my little underdog, The Leftovers. For anybody there who doesn't pay for HBO, which you can steal it from mom and dad, I hope, that clearly Game of Thrones is the biggest show on television. It is. It's a worldwide phenomenon. It's being filmed in like 6-7 places at the same time all the time.
Casting agents love that show.
Absolutely. Like The Sopranos is being held up. It's the biggest thing HBO's had since The Sopranos. Absolutely. They know they're on the way out. They got Westworld coming. Automatons with self-actualization problems who think they're robots and cowboys. They don't know they're robots. They think they're cowboys. Great. The point is, The Leftovers has been this great underdog of a show. Critics love it, and I don't know anybody else talking about
You
it.
brought the Blu-ray over like a week ago, and once I finish up rewatching Saul season 2,
Yeah, Better Call Saul, y'all.
I love that show. I'm definitely going to throw it in because you gave me a really good sales pitch on it.
This show, The Leftovers, I'm rewatching. So in short, I'm rewatching season 3, the final season, and as we've discussed many times, I'm so glad this show ends. There is a definitive ending. Some of the showrunners were the people who made Lost. They could have kept going forever. They could have made the same mistakes twice. They didn't. They made a solid season 1. I really like season 2, and I'm rewatching season 3. Also strong. Also, again, one of my favorite shows ever. But I'm gonna say very little specific anecdotally because anything I say is just a spoiler. And I'm rewatching it because this show has so many great, weird Easter eggs, visually and otherwise. There's a lot of great stuff hidden.
Who's in it? Isn't there?
The one who steals a show is I want to say, is it the 9th Doctor Who, Christopher Eccleston, who, if you didn't know, he's an Englishman. Yeah, you would. His American accent's fantastic.
He always delivers.
He's great.
I love him in 28 Days Later.
That's right. Yeah. I keep forgetting that was him. He knocks out of the park. There's every season so far has had his name is Matt Jameson. He's a priest who is
such an American name.
Yeah,
Matt Jameson.
His American accent is fantastic. Yeah. It's a show about just upstate New York. He doesn't have a New York accent per se, the way that actually Justin Theroux. I mean, did I say no? Louis Theroux, Justin Theroux, correct. Cousins. Did you know that they're cousins?
But their names are pronounced differently.
They're pronounced differently. Okay. He said, Louis Theroux says Theroux,
agents,
even though he's an Englishman, and Justin Theroux says Theroux, but they are first cousins. Cool. So, by the way, this is radio is an auditory medium, not a visual one. But do a Google search. Somebody got the good genes in the family. Sorry, man. One of you dates Jennifer Aniston, and the other one, interviews a Ku Klux Klan. He's a great journalist. He's really good, but come on, guys.
Jennifer Aniston. One
thing. I haven't seen the show yet, but is it awful that the most appealing thing about this show to me is you told me there are 3 seasons and it's finite. That's it. It's conclusive. It's over. Like the full story is told. That's unheard of these
Doug
days.
did it.
What?
Doug
did not do it. Doug went 7 seasons. 4 Nickelodeon seasons.
Disney. No,
yeah, Disney. But the fact that there it's a I don't know if you'd call it a sci-fi show, but it's a show that's like kind of higher concept and doesn't seem to be putting out endless plot threads that they could spin off with and like burn time on. Like that's rare these days.
It's strong. It's the kind of weird fiction. I won't even call it dystopian future per se. It's an alternate reality. It's scary. I strongly recommend it. I'm not being paid to say this, but check anybody out there listening at home. Check it out.
That went to the top of my list.
Sure.
I'll try and be brief. I mean, I've been working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and when I've had free time, I've been playing the Crash Bandicoot Insanity Collection, which is basically like a remake of the original 3 Crash Bandicoot games from the late 90s on PlayStation 1.
And they look great.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember the name of the studio that did it, but it's Activision put it out. They published it, and they basically took those old low poly, barely 3D perspective platforming games and redid them on a game engine that, I hate using this phrase, but it looks like a Pixar movie. Like it's like, they run in 4K as their marketing team.
I like that.
It's funny because it's like a marketing team joke, but also the game isn't actually running in 4K. So if they said 4K, they'd probably get in trouble. But 4K makes you think, oh, maybe it's in 4K. No.
Is the FDA going to be like, this is not 4K?
No, there's been lawsuits about like false advertising about that kind of thing. I don't think that's why they say 4K. I think they say 4K.
I bought a 4K television to play Crash.
To play Crash Bandicoot 2.
But you play Crash?
But no, the game's held up really well. I beat the first one. It was hard as sin. The first Crash Bandicoot game was really hard, and the thing is, the games look amazing now. Like they've added a few modern conveniences, like extra checkpoints and stuff like that. But more or less, the spatial relations, the speed of animation, like the way the game plays, when you hit a button, the things that the characters do are all the same, like frame rate wise and everything. As they match the '90s games almost to a T. So it's as hard as a 1996 platforming game was, because back then when you bought these games, you spent $50 and you were getting the same game that you see now. Like you could beat the thing in like 3 hours if you were really good at it. So, these developers were, making them really hard, I think. So if you rented the game, you couldn't beat the thing in an afternoon. Mm-hmm. Or they also, just kind of like got tunnel vision, I think. The guys at Naughty Dog back then, Jason Rubin and those guys, they probably were just, developing levels that they had a hard time beating, not what they thought 5-year-olds wanted to play. So that first game was really hard. And now that I've started playing Crash Bandicoot 2, much easier, much better. It's got a little more in common with, say, Mario 64. There's like a butt stomp button. Like if you jump and hit a button, you like slam on the ground. Mm-hmm. Crash is just as much a tool as he was in the first game. But I think the games tonally know that. He like winks at the camera, like he like gives thumbs up and like makes the noise and stuff like that. He's a Daxter Flaxter. He's a Roy from The Simpsons. He's Poochie.
Pizza Rat.
Crazy
Rat.
Yeah.
Pepsi Rat. Yeah.
Pepsi Rat. I kind of love him, but I don't know. I've shown you. I've shown you guys the Crash remake thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I really think it looks great.
Well, I mean, like Ryan, when you had a PS1, you were more of like an Oddworld guy, right? Did you have a Crash Bandicoot game?
The first game I really fell in love with was watching, and then like just kind of taking over between like when we get bored or tired. Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
But when I really hit my own stride was Resident Evil 2 and Silent Hill 1,
Yep.
and then going on and I'm still buying them today.
Yeah, Ryan and I basically once a year get together to beat Resident Evil 2. So like I have a deep affinity for the PlayStation 1 library, and there have been like these like 4K remakes of Parappa the Rapper, Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3, and the original Oddworld Abe's Odyssey.
And it's beautiful too.
I eat that stuff up. I'm like a consumer nightmare. I guess we should graduate on to the
20-year anniversary.
The 20th anniversary
fantastic.
of a certain movie hits this week, right? This week,
July 25th.
July 25th. So
Excellent.
So on July
almost on time.
25th, 1997, the motion picture Good Burger took America by storm.
Yes.
And but I mean, it probably got put in like what 2,000 theaters. It was it was a PG movie.
I'm pretty sure I saw it in Hawaii.
Really?
I was on vacation in Hawaii for like a month when I was a kid. It was
didn't know
awesome.
This is news to both of us.
My dad used to live in Hawaii, and
Oh, I knew that.
he just always wanted to go back, and then we were able to do it one summer. And if you're gonna go to Hawaii, like take a month off, like really just get as much.
Soak it in.
Yeah, like if you can, and of course we haven't really been on vacation since because that's a huge vacation, but I was a kid and there wasn't a lot to do other than swim because I was like 9 or something, and
You don't have nowhere to go, no internet.
You don't have the upward mobility of a teenage. You don't have a license. You
Yeah.
don't have disposable income.
So
It's still Hawaii.
So yeah, like swimming was awesome, but I mostly remember going to like a handful of movies that came out that month, and one of them I think was Good Burger. There was like that, Hercules, Men in Black.
Great summer.
Titanic came out that year.
That was around Christmas though.
This is probably the most produced segment of this show. I wouldn't say best, but most. What we're going to do is have a trivia game between Ryan and Neil. I'm going to ask each of you 4 questions about the film Good Burger. And at the end, whoever has the most answered correctly, I guess is the winner. And then we move on to the rest of the podcast.
Okay, this is fun. I want to do this.
I'm going to edit in some music. Okay, so, all right, get into this.
You're going down.
All right, quit screwing around. All right, Ryan, you get the first question.
Okay.
You won the toss. In the film Good Burger, what family-friendly comedian played school teacher Mr. Wheat, whose car is destroyed by Keenan's character Dexter in the first act?
Who
And
is
ultimately-
Sinbad?
Okay, I didn't finish the question, but you're right.
Sorry, everyone.
Okay, Neil. In the film Good Burger, what illegal steroid was used by the mega corporate Mondo Burger to enhance their evil meat? I'm going to give you 10 seconds.
Illegal steroid. Testosterone.
The answer is triamphethol.
You know something messed up? Triamphethol. Like we should do our research later.
Shark steroid or
That
something.
might actually be a chemical. Like it's some. When you consider how pharmaceutical companies go about labeling the generic versus privatized brands of different things, that might be a real thing by now. 20 years later, that might be a real drug.
All right, so Ryan, question 2.
Yes.
In the film Good Burger, what is the first and last line spoken?
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
That is correct.
Excellent. This is rigged a little. I'm sorry, Neil. That was you got.
What are you talking about? Just so the audience knows, for the record, Neil had a framed movie poster for Good Burger next to his desk for what, 7 years?
Kevin, it was not framed.
Okay, you had a movie
It
poster.
was a tacked up. It was a full size. It was a poster for the video release.
But
too.
okay, but
No, yeah.
I made an assumption that Neil might know a bit more. So
I've seen it probably the same number of times.
I've
you
never
guys
seen
have.
it. Have you?
What? That's
Yeah, I haven't
gasps.
seen Good
Those,
Burger.
ladies and gentlemen, those gasps were real.
So so the audience at home knows where the score is. Ryan 2, Neil 0. Neil, your second question.
Okay.
In the film Good Burger, who had their feature film debut as Heather, the psychopathic mental patient Kel meets?
Carmen Electra.
Incorrect.
May I take it away?
Do you know it?
She was Don Draper's love interest in the last season of Mad Men, before the final waitress. She was on Freaks and Geeks with the guy from How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, right.
Her name... Yes, she was...
Do you know her name?
Hang on, it starts with a J.
Nope.
Doesn't? Not a...
No, I was thinking Carmen Electra is in it, though.
Her
Right?
name rhymes with Linda.
Yeah, Linda Cardinal.
Cardinal.
Yeah.
That was a bad joke. All right.
She was... wasn't she Velma in the live action?
She was. She was.
Excellent. Scooby-Doo.
All right.
I didn't listen to the character name. I just
Man.
knew. Yeah, okay.
All right. We're back to Ryan now.
Gotcha.
In the film Good Burger, the character Roxanne attempts to seduce Ed out of the secret sauce recipe, Ed sauce. It's called Ed sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Who played Roxanne uncredited?
Is that Carmen Electra?
It's Carmen Electra.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I
Neil.
feel like Neil should get the point for that because we're talking about long-term. We're talking about distorted long-term memory.
I'm
and
so sorry, Neil.
His brain was going the right place. He should get that.
Okay, Neil,
Yes.
you can't possibly win.
Okay.
But we can.
Shouldn't the points double at this point?
Yeah, let's do the lightning round, thus making the previous round completely unnecessary. All right, double points. Double points. Neil can get 2 points for this one.
Okay.
The film Good Burger had a proposed sequel written by Steve Holland entitled Good Burger 2 Go. A proposed motion picture where Ed and Dexter uncover a scandal when a British conglomerate buys the Good Burger restaurant. The film was not produced. Paramount turned the script down for unknown reasons. But the script ultimately became something. Did it become A Scooby-Doo direct-to-DVD movie, B, a paperback novel, C, an interactive CD-ROM, or D, a Keenan and Kel comedy album?
These are all really
Again,
these are very
B,
plausible.
what was B? That was the.
A was the Scooby-Doo direct-to-DVD movie. B is a paperback novel.
I think it was B, the paperback novel. Is that?
That's correct.
Yes. Oh,
Right,
nice.
so Neil has 2 points.
Nice.
I got 2 points.
Yes. I wondered if you'd fall for the CD-ROM thing, because you could picture it, right?
I would have.
It's a little late for a CD-ROM game, probably like 1998, right?
Yeah.
You
I
can
would.
picture it, right?
Yeah. If that were a real thing, I would know about it and I would have played
Yeah.
it by now.
Okay, Ryan.
Yes.
Ryan's got 3 points. Neil has 2. Ryan. In the film Good Burger, 35mm film stock was used to capture the story. There is but one legal way to watch Good Burger in high definition in 2017. How?
I'm almost embarrassed to say this out loud, but is there a Criterion collection of Good Burger?
No.
On TV, right?
Netflix.
Netflix. Oh.
Oh.
For some reason, the high definition capture of Good Burger has only been provided to Netflix.
There is no Blu-ray
There's
distribution?
no Blu-ray. There are no plans to release a high definition Bluray.
No double
The DVD
disc
that exists
Harriet
is
the
bare
Spy
bones.
and
Kevin, you should talk about this in your documentary about the death of physical media.
Cut to the director of Good Burger. Okay, so right now, Neil, you could tie it.
Okay.
You're gonna tie it. In the film Good Burger, what color was Ed's secret sauce?
It's like Nickelodeon orange, right?
Correct.
It's ketchup and mustard mixed together. It's ketchup
No,
mixed.
there's like a whole bunch of stuff in it.
It's not real. Yeah, sure. But in reality, it's ketchup and mustard mixed.
I think it was
together.
closer to like Thousand Island dressing.
It's probably a hint of mayo to like space.
I think he threw in a bunch of pickles and.
Right now I'm thinking about that sad scene in Breaking Bad when the German conglomerate just electrocutes himself with a defibrillator after tasting a bunch of nonsense
Oh,
things.
French and yeah.
That was the
Well,
opening
French,
scene of
yeah.
Good Burger to go.
Yeah.
I just imagine
That should have been one of the
that
multiple
poor
choice
scene.
answers. A Breaking Bad episode.
Oh yeah.
You take that poor scene of like a man contemplating suicide and you put in the
And on the Seinfeld theme. So, well, that was our Good Burger contest, and you guys tied.
All
I
right.
didn't come
Do you
up with a
have
tiebreaker because I really thought I actually thought going into this Neil was gonna like smoke through it, and Ryan wasn't going to know it. Not because
Ryan, you
is
did research. And
I have to admit, I knew the test was coming. I did some homework last night.
the fact that
morning,
the Linda Cardellini thing was impressive. The fact that like you pulled that, like I couldn't believe that was her first like feature film role.
She'd done Freaks and Geeks first, but it was her first
I think
feature.
her film career never took off for some reason.
No, Good Burger was 97. Freaks and Geeks was like 99, I think.
But it wasn't.
Oh
it
yeah,
wasn't in theaters.
I think of it like Strangers. All right, Strangers of Candy was like 99 as well, wasn't it? I just remember being a lot older because it's so silly.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're gonna move on to our Q&A segment. So what we're gonna do every episode of Guaranteed Audio is we're gonna take questions exclusively from our Patreon backers, which you can join up at patreon.com/guaranteed. I do not know how we got that URL, but I'm not going to complain about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put up a post once a month where we just ask for questions for the show. This first episode, we have a few from Twitter we took, but we also have a bunch from Patreon. We're going to try and get through as many as we can before we make this too long, because right now we're looking at like 40 minutes, I'm guessing. So our first question, I'm just going to say first names because I didn't clarify with people if they were okay with their full name being read.
Okay.
That's smart. Good.
Okay. This question is for Neil. It's from Evil Twin.
Okay.
Question is, are you ever going to release Spirit Phone on compact disc? It's a CD.
I remember compact discs. Maybe, but I haven't really looked into it. I don't really have any plans on doing it. I still have my old albums a couple of my old albums on CD, and I literally sell like one a year or something. I feel like people just do not buy discs anymore. Speaking of the death of physical media, I'm sure people would if I released it and like promoted it on Twitter. But
It has to be like a pre-sale thing, right? Like
maybe, yeah. But I mean, if you really want to get a physical representation of that album, the poster is available on topatico.com, TOPATOCO. I think I spelled that right.
if you Google it, Google will fix it for you.
Yeah.
Google knows what you think.
I have a little shop with some posters. So you can get a poster version of it and just listen to the digital version of the album while staring at my face.
Evil Twin, I'm going to give Evil Twin a second question because Evil Twin asked two.
Okay.
This one's for Ryan and me, but I'm just going to ask Ryan. Ryan, do you have any funny high school stories?
No.
Okay. All right. Next question comes from a patron at patreon.com/guaranteed. Furby asks, what were Ryan's inspirations for his creepypastas? Before that, Neil, tell people what on earth a creepypasta is.
Oh, they're just scary stories, but for the internet. Ryan's in particular are on YouTube. They're narrated by him, and they have very interesting visuals interspersed. Lots of original content shot for them. So they're not just podcasts. They're scary campfire stories told with.
They're not adaptations.
Element.
They're not adaptations of things he found on Reddit.
They're almost like poems. They're very.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, they're very good.
So Ryan, what inspired you to make them? Furby wants to know.
Well, first of all, thank you, Furby, for your question and your money, of course. And it's money like that allows us to provide for all the cool stuff we're doing, and we're going to continue to do. If I had to nail it down of what inspires why I love short-form scary stories, specifically through the internet, well, because I grew up through the internet, I'm part of the internet generation. The internet is where a lot of my life takes place. It's a fact. Big inspiration, scary stories to tell in the dark. Parts 1, 2, and 3, or you can get them all together.
Alvin Schwartz.
And Alvin Schwartz. Fantastic illustrations.
Stephen Gamble. They got a later edition that had a new illustrator.
They're blasphemous, man.
Oh yeah.
I will say.
With that said, the original illustrations are amazing. They're almost
fantastic.
Too much. You look at them.
Kids
and
can
you're
handle
like,
them. Kids
can handle them. But
We
it's
all
like,
did?
Jesus. Like,
Yeah, they're really yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've shown the originals to kids younger than 10, and they've gone, yeah, they can handle it. They're intriguing.
They're
it
cool.
gets their imagination. They caught children like books with pictures. Horror works well with illustrations, with visuals. It just does. And those illustrations are fantastic. A lot of the stories, especially the ones scary stories that tell in the dark, some of the songs, when you read through them again, a lot of it's kind of silly, kind of goofy. Yeah. The songs never really did it for me, but a lot of those stories really stick. They're like They're like the Twilight Zone. They're like the Outer Limits, and of course, classic science fiction literature like Arthur C. Clarke, Ray Bradbury, Isaac Asimov. And of course, beyond that one book I took out and out and out of the library, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Of course, Goosebumps. Horror stories, short form, because you'd be surprised how short the form really is if you were to look back at those.
They're very short on actual story.
Correct.
They were basically like a Wikipedia page split into 80
A lot of pages in
pages.
Goosebumps books are like top of page, 3 lines of dialogue,
I remember, yeah,
a lot of indents, and then like that's the end of that chapter. So there's a lot of empty space.
Yeah, there are one-page chapters for sure. I remember
certainly are.
I can remember like the first time I got to a chapter in Goosebumps that was just one page. I was like, this is getting ridiculous.
Yeah. Come on, write a book. So Ryan, you actually photograph and do video work for your creepypastas. You go out with your camera and you find interesting things around, usually Cape Cod.
Yes.
Yeah. What usually comes first, the story or the visuals?
The story.
Yeah.
Only once did I have visuals that I came up with an idea afterwards, and that was my my piece about the ants. That's the only time. God, this is a bad analogy. My Billy Joel "We Didn't Start the Fire" is his only song that he wrote the lyrics before the songs, versus the other way around. And ladies and gentlemen out there at home, it shows. So,
Biona, who's done some awesome fan art of our work,
Yes.
asks, and this is a pop quiz. How tall are we? Neil, how tall are you?
I am 5'9" or 5'10". I don't remember the last time I got officially measured.
Ryan?
my license says 5'10", but I'm not. I'm 5'9". But 5'9".
We're about the same height. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I, Kevin, am 6 feet Celsius. Next question is from I Want a Dole Whip. And they ask, what video that we've put out is our favorite? Ryan, what's your favorite video we've made?
Well, lately I've been more likely to show friends and family, new audiences, or anybody willing to listen, New Kids on the Rock, Computer Fighters. That's just the most recent one. If I had a default, go on my phone, go on a device, show someone, go. New Kids on the Rock, Computer Fighters. But what holds a soft spot in my heart is Ryan Turns Into a Dog.
Yeah. Ryan Turns Into a Dog is kind of...
That's on your channel,
Yeah.
not mine, if anyone wants to look it up.
Ryan Turns Into a Dog is kind of the opposite of a love
Oh, yeah.
letter. It's sort of like
forgot.
an admission of guilt. It's us falling on the sword when it comes to the types of humor we
had
write.
there's a good like secret idea behind it, and then we decided like, oh well, we need like
An A story.
a burner story basally.
Yeah.
So
Ryan turns into a dog.
yeah. Okay, so we make that, and then the real twist.
And there are a few decent jokes. That was like one of our first Smash Mouth jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Full disclosure, catching tadpoles, easier than I thought it would be.
We did that like a graveyard, I think.
We
right?
did.
Yeah.
Got them in a graveyard.
I don't think we've caught animals for any other films since then.
All of whom were fine, by the
Neil,
way.
what's your favorite video we've done?
Also, Computer Fighters probably is the one I'm most proud of. I think it's just a lot of cool work went into that. If I need to show someone something real quick that kind of gets the idea across, It's the World Wide Web is pretty great. It's funny. You get the joke instantly. It's not really well produced.
A lot of people think Aaron Paul is in it.
Ryan is not Aaron Paul.
Yeah, we've had that come up.
We went through a lot of work to make that look as authentically 90s as possible. 90s jokes weren't kind of all the rage back in 2008 when we were making that. And when we finished our edit, we ran it to and from a VHS tape several times to degrade it. People can do that stuff in After Effects. We know how to do VHS filters in After Effects, but it doesn't quite have that
It's
same...
funny. I've looked into it, and there's just so much going on with a tape that's
An
falling
actual
apart.
tape, yeah.
Yeah, like there's actual like words for each different kind of degradation.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to get it all accurate.
The only drawback of doing it the way we did, which is through analog capture from a VCR, is you can only do it at 480p.
Which I think is... Did we shoot that in HD originally?
Yeah, we shot that on HVX in 720.
I wish we still had the original. Do we somewhere?
It may be on a hard drive somewhere.
Maybe, yeah, a clean version. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, my personal favorite as of today, in July 2017, is I really like Friend or Foe. Friend or Foe is an idea Ryan came up with 5-6 years ago. I always thought it was a rock solid joke. I like how to the point it is. I think we did some good visual comedy work in it. I think it's shot well. I like that it's in 4K and it has good color and good sound. There's no fat to chew. It just gets to the point.
It looks cool.
It looks cool.
And it was our first 4K collaboration, right?
Yeah, and
Excellent.
we had kind of put off doing something like that because it takes a little more work, not just in post, but just in setting up gear that's external to the camera. We got to do some cool dolly shots. We rented a costume for it. We spent a little more money on it per minute than we usually do. And, I just think that, I'm going to turn this part down, obviously. I just think that if you have to sort of explain to somebody what our style, our sense of humor is, you just sit them down with that video, and in 1 minute they've gotten everything. They don't need to wait 10 minutes for the joke to kick in. It's not referential. Like
death is funny. Yeah,
death is funny. It always is.
Always kills.
So,
hey,
thank you. So that was I wanted to hold whip. Next question comes from Ben on our Patreon page. Ben asks, "Is it philosophically possible to cheat on a romantic partner with a robot?" Follow-up question: is it better or worse if the robot were an exact copy of the romantic partner? Ryan.
Yes. Is it philosophically possible to cheat on a romantic partner with a robot? Yes. Depending on the level of self-actualization that this automaton, this cyborg, well, it's a cyborg, it's part living anyway, so that's just off the bat, that's adultery. Well, if you're married. Is it cheating if it's cyborg? Yes. So it's some kind of android. It's some kind of creature that has some sense of self-awareness. Yeah. It passes the... I almost said Kinsey test. That's different. Yeah. It passes the Turing test.
I think a robot's a wide umbrella. Like, the question is robot, right?
If it's like a present day robot, like a factory robot that puts cars together,
go on.
More power to you. Like,
yeah.
I don't think that does not count as cheating. It doesn't have intelligence. It's just a very strange thing you did.
Like those Japanese body pillows, like James Franco in the episode of 30 Rock. It's not a living thing.
Are you guys aware of the men that have sex with their cars?
Do you guys actually do
now.
that?
There are people that do that.
I am now.
There are people that do that.
Okay,
and
yeah.
Are they
Again,
cheating?
that's a different conversation. It's not cheating.
It's a car robot. It's a tool.
It's a discussion someone should be having with their significant other. But
I think in court, it's not going to be adultery.
Yeah.
No.
But if you found out your significant other was sleeping with a robot, would you consider yourself cheated upon? I guess that's the real... The victim's the perspective you have to take.
Yeah, are we in a sci-fi story where there are intelligent robots?
Yeah.
Year 2017, would I know? Which contradicts my first answer. But I'm thinking again, it depends on the level of self-awareness and sentience of the creature.
Now, if it's one of those little toy robots that like asks you trivia questions,
like 2XL.
Yeah, the 2XL with the little tape.
Yeah.
One of the questions.
Tickle me on. Yeah. Oh God.
Is your wife gone? Like.
Okay, I think we answered that question.
Yeah. Great question, by the way.
Okay, our last question. Michael from Twitter, and I'm going to get your name wrong. Gianni. They both ask shades of the same thing. Gianni asks, any plans for further installments of the bold, ambitious saga that is New Kids on the Rock? And Michael on Twitter asked, is this the successor to New Kids on the Rock? Is New Kids on the Rock finished? I think it's safe to say we're going to make more New Kids on the Rock videos.
Yes.
It's just after Computer Fighters, we weren't burnt out. I just think doing another one that wasn't a 20-minute, 8-month production epic, would have felt less. They would have felt a little like anticlimactic to like, okay, the next New Kids is like a 2-minute. And we're definitely not going to do another 20-minute New Kids. I don't foresee that ever happening unless we got a chunk of money for it. But
tell your friends out there.
I do think that if we came up with a joke that was sort of an umbrella joke that could be any cast of characters doing it. I see no reason why we wouldn't call it Kevin, Neil, and Ryan doing this stuff. But I don't think we would make another New Kids episode that would require inside baseball knowledge of the universe or whatever you'd call it.
Yeah, I think we like our videos to be kind of standalone.
Accessible, yeah.
Yeah, but there's no reason why we wouldn't want to make another like goofy fake sitcom episode starring ourselves as ourselves.
And go further down the rabbit hole of making it like a sitcom. Like I think that's kind of the dream, is always make New Kids feel a little bit more like a TGIF episode every time.
Yeah, what Guaranteed Video is more just a logo umbrella for our works together, which are sometimes New Kids, sometimes are not.
And we've needed that for a long time. We really should have had a stamp at the end of our videos. Yeah.
Well, we used to work at
Rock Media.
Yeah, HollywoodiesTV.com, and that was kind of that was our logo at the end, and that was our branding for a couple of years.
We'd actually talked about different, an umbrella term, a blanket term. At one point, Kevin and I talked about These Stairs Go Up.
Yeah, we thought
a
about
reference
that.
to Ghostbusters is sort of a catch-all for our collective work. There was the other one what was it? Cinematic Rocketry?
Yeah, Neil
I made a logo for that years ago.
2006 maybe.
That might have been before I knew you guys, actually.
Cinematic Rocketry.
Yeah,
Oops,
you're
bad
right.
movies. Like when we were brainstorming the name New Kids on the Rock back in the day, we thought about calling ourselves the Auteurs.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, which I don't know. I think that makes us sound like we're Stella or something if we went by the Auteurs. But yeah, I think it's safe to say we'll make more New Kids at some point. I don't think they'd be longer than 3 minutes, at least for the time being. And if we did them, I personally would like the next New Kids video to feel more like a sitcom. Maybe even have a laugh track. We have scripts. We've had ideas for episodes we never produced. Kevin Goes to Jail. The one where we go to the center of Ryan's body.
Oh, yeah?
Fantastic Voyage.
Fantastic Voyage.
Mini submarine, yada yada.
Yeah.
Slam dunk Neil.
You'll notice every one of the plots we come up with involves one of us being taken out of the plot.
Yeah,
it makes life easier. It's just, hey, now we have a director.
Oh, Kevin's in jail. Good thing he's behind the camera and can photograph Ryan and Neil. Like, oh man, we're in Ryan's body. Good thing he can shoot this one.
You know, when other people in the real have asked our New Kids, you know, even before we make guaranteed video, is this the end of New Kids on the Rock? And I've said no. I liken it to like the band, like Flight of the Conchords or Gorillaz, that we're not done, we're not broken up. We'll make another album, we'll make another video, we'll make our next project when we feel right. We're not done, but we'll let you know when something else is coming.
I think at a certain point too, like I always made the push to make them longer. I remember there was a distinct conversation that haunts me to this day. We were sitting down, it was 2007, and we're having lunch at like some fish place in Plymouth. And Ryan said, why don't we just start making New Kids in the Rock episodes 3 minutes long and just call them New Kids Shorts? I remember that exact push, and I went, I decried, no. People watch New Kids because they're like sitcom episodes. Internet content should be longer. I was 100% categorically wrong. And I do think that going forward with New Kids, I personally think people would rather watch 4 5-minute episodes or like 10 2-minute episodes than 1 20-minute. Mm-hmm. Now that we're going to make 10 episodes and then release them like that. But I think if we got into a position where in 1 month we decided, hey, we have these 2 really short New Kids in the Rock skits. Why don't we make 2 of these under 3-minute videos? That might be a thing we do. Or a New Kids episode might be complemented by a video that has nothing to do with Ryan, Neil, and I working together on camera. We might have like something that stars somebody else that we put out.
This is a lengthy response to something that was basically a yes or no question.
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, it's. I feel like with this being our first episode, we probably need to address it a little bit.
More than one person asked, and yeah, it is. I'm glad we're detail oriented in our response.
Yeah. Well, I guess that makes for the ending of the first episode of Guaranteed Audio. In case it got cut off earlier when we had a recording error, I just want to reiterate that if you have any questions for us on next month's podcast, keep an eye on our Patreon page at patreon.com/guaranteed, a URL I cannot believe we got. We're going to put up a post every month asking for questions. We're going to pull questions exclusively from that Patreon comment thread. Thank you, everyone who's backed us and put contributions into our
thank you
into our work. We bought our podcasting gear with that money.
Hey.
So thank you guys for that. Do you guys, Ryan, Neil, do you have anything you want to say to the lovely listeners at home?
Thank you again, and nope.
No, I don't have anything to say other than thanks for listening to the podcast, and
let us know what you like and don't like about it.
We will read it.
Be honest. We like constructive feedback.
We're extremely self-conscious, so just like push us in the right kind of self-conscious.
Can I just say one thing about the comments we usually get on YouTube and everything? Mm-hmm. We get really nice comments.
We do.
99%.
Most of the comments we get are very constructive. Even if people don't like our stuff. When we put out the Lawn Mowing Man, one comment said, "This is just too postmodern for me." Mm-hmm. That's a great negative comment. This is why I didn't like this movie. It wasn't sucks or like some, pejorative. Like it was very like, this is why I didn't like this. And
yeah, it even ends with "for me," That's nice.
Yeah, like so if you guys have anything you don't like about the show, if you have anything you'd like to hear more about, I do think we're going to try and move the lens of it away from talking about the three of us a bit more. Writing questions you've got, hypothetical scenarios, what would win in a fight, a bear or a car, things like that.
Yeah, and we of course love to talk about media, movies, and TV shows. So we'll probably we don't really have a theme to this podcast
Yet.
yet, but
Exactly.
yeah, that's honest.
Depending on where you're listening to this, we're going to have it up available for free in our Patreon page. We're going to have it up on YouTube and somewhere else.
Thank you again for helping. Thank you for being patrons.
Yep.
Have a blessed night.
Good night and good luck.
So I just wanted to. I noticed I spelled Topatico wrong, so I'm just gonna redo that. If you can patch that in there. Topatico.com. Topataco.com.
Topatico.
QUALM.
Gattaca.
Oh wait, no, I did get it right the first time. Never mind. Topatoco. Okay.
All right. That's it.
And cut.
Detroit.